Hi, my name is Janet Carr. I am a volunteer for the TIPE 3D printing conference hosted by Women in 3D Printing this year that will take place January 27, 28, so mark your calendars. So what we're going to do today is show you how the virtual conference works, so you have all the tips and tricks under your sleeves as a vendor, as a speaker, as a member, part of the organization that's contributing to this. All right, let's get started. So as you can see over here, on the day of, you will receive a link that will bring you to the main stage of the TIPE 3D printing conference. And it'll bring you onto this virtual platform. It kind of looks like an actual event where you've got a banner that tells you where all the sponsors are and where the locations are. You have this floor where you could go to groups of 6, 8, 4, and 2 to have discussions. And there's a bunch of virtual, let's say, pamphlets that are platinum sponsors. Thank you, Trump, GE Additive, HP, Dassault, and Matter Hackers for contributing as a platinum sponsor, where you can learn more about them on your own time. All right. And on top of that, at a high level, there will also be an agenda, as you can see on the top right corner, where you can learn what's happening throughout the event. Okay. So just to note, when you join the event, you will be thrown in a random floor on the main stage or on the track stages. So here, as you can see on the left-hand side, are the floors, okay? So right now we are on the first floor. If you want to know where your virtual table is, simply look at Meet the Sponsors tab, find your logo. So let's say, for example, I am HP. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm a platinum sponsor, floor 1. So you can see that HP's table is right here. So if a delegate wants to meet you, they simply have to double click on that table and they'll meet you. If let's say I am Carbon, gold sponsor, then it's on floor 2. So I simply click floor 2 and I look for Carbon's name, and Carbon's right here. So I want to meet with Carbon, I double click into the Carbon name. Okay. And you'll notice that there are empty tables without names, so those are also free for all. Okay. But you're probably wondering, I'm jumping from table to table. How do I know who people are? So if you click on my quick profile here, you'll see that I have a name, I have information about myself, a LinkedIn, Facebook, website, and book meeting link. So this is where you update it. So you'll see on the top right corner either a picture of yourself if you've already been on the platform, or the first letter of your name, and you click My Profile. And here you can edit the profile. So what we really recommend you to do is put a picture of your LinkedIn profile for your full name, add your company name and your title so people could be more intentional when they want to reach out to you. For the headline, as Cynthia Barnes mentioned to me, it's a great way to add your contact information if you want people to directly connect with you, since there's no like virtual business cards on this platform. You can add your company name, title, meeting link. So if you don't have a personal meeting link like myself, you can also add your company's book meeting link so that they could contact your company directly. And then LinkedIn profile, Facebook URL. You might want to add your company Facebook URL to help add to the followings, and website. So you're probably wondering, okay, well, once I add all this information, what is my benefit? So as you can see over here, we have something called a chat function. So under the chat function, you'll be able to see everyone that has ever joined the event. So if I want to contact people that are at Formlabs, as an example, I can actually search for Formlabs and I'll be able to see that Caitlin was here. Hello, let's meet, okay? And so if you have your full name written out with your contact information and your company name and your title, it'll be a lot easier for people to find you. Otherwise, you'll have to know them by name, which is fine if you know everybody. All right, so at a high level, that's how the floor works. But let's say you wanted to meet GE Additive. When you go onto the table, simply turn on your camera and mic, and then you can start conversing with people at the table. You'll see that on the left-hand side, there is something called tile view. So what tile view does is it blows up everyone's faces so in an equal amount. So that way you could feel like you're having an actual natural conversation with everybody. But let's say, for example, you want to keep an eye on the floor. You can click on the back to floor and you can see where all the human bubbles are located, okay? And you can also drag the floor if your view is different. You can zoom in, zoom out. One thing to note is there are some functionalities of the floor to take note of. You can share your screen on the floor. For example, here I'm going to share the new floor plan that I created on my Adobe Illustrator, and you can see that it's here. If you can't really view the image, I recommend you to open up the back to floor, and you can actually maximize this view. And when you're done looking at what you're looking at, you can reduce the size, go back to the floor. And if you don't want to keep sharing, then you can stop share. So if you are a sponsor of the event, or someone that wants to show something cool like a PowerPoint, a video, your website, or a case study, whatever it might be, share screen's a great tool for that. Okay. And under the chat, if you want to share resources with folks at the table, they have something called a table chat. Okay. So here's a PDF of my slides. And then you can add the PDF as an example. But do note that when you send information in the table chat, it is ephemeral. It's kind of like Insta Stories, where all the information can disappear once everyone leaves the table. But everyone can also receive the information. Okay. You'll also see that there is something called general chat. So under the general chat, we typically like people to share their sentiments. We can also get people to join you at different tables and say like, hi, women and 3D printing delegates. Come visit Dassault Systems to learn about Delmia at 4 p.m. Eastern. And then that way you can get people to come to the Dassault System table who are interested in this topic. Do note that each table has a limit. So there's only 6 people available per platinum sponsor table. From 5 to 10, there's actually empty tables. So if you want to tell people to meet you at other tables, you can take those floors. It's kind of like an empty table at a coffee shop or at the conference floor. Okay, free for all. So that's how you can use it. If you're a sponsor and you've got people that are at your table, but they're just lingering and not really doing anything, I recommend you to either find me, Janet Carr, or you can look for a digital ambassador, and then you can actually private message them and ask them to remove lingering people from your table, and then we'll be right on it. Okay. Do you note that there's many ways to see the agenda of the day? There will be an agenda here. You can also see the Mainstage Agenda 1, Mainstage Agenda 2, and then for these events, we'll also add a GIF where you can view the agenda from here. And if all goes well, we'll hopefully also have an agenda right here so you won't miss anything. Okay. So some folks have used this platform and have asked, when the presentation's going on, does it mean I can't continue networking? So the beauty of the way we're setting up for TIPE 3D printing conferences, the main stage will be open for networking 95% of the time. The other 5% of the time will be when Women in 3D Printing for the TIPE conference is making an announcement during the day. So everything in orange. So, and then when there's the inspirational keynote speaker and closing keynote fireside chat are when this event floor will be closed for the final presentations on both days. Okay. So we've gone through PAL view, back to floor. We've gone through the different types of chats. One thing I didn't note was if you have a great conversation with someone, you can also export the chat. Okay, and then you can connect with them later on with ample information. We've also talked about jumping from floor to floor, sharing your screen. Now I'm going to share with you, if you want to go to a track, what to do. So on the day of, you can visit the technology track sponsored by Trump, industry from GE, people from HP, the SO from economics, and youth for Meta Hackers. And so simply have to click to enter the youth track in this case. If you don't want to, you can go back to the event. But once you click into the event, it will bring you into the virtual floor. So here you'll see a quick hello from the youth track leader. Thank you, Maddie, for the introduction. And you'll be able to see that there is this virtual floor for you to navigate. So as you can see, that the floor is not designed for networking, but if you're dropped in here and the event hasn't started, there will be tables of twos where you can bounce around and meet people if you want to, okay? And when the event takes place, basically, we are going to start it. There will be a countdown for 30 seconds, but for this purpose, I am going to just go straight into presentation mode. And as a presentation mode, basically you'll see the speaker speaking on stage. You'll see that there's a chat where you can view who has ever entered the stage or is an organizer of the event. They might not all receive the message, but you'll see that under participants, there will be live one, and this is where the live delegates can be contacted. So you can see that I am one person only here. If you are a speaker, you will be invited to the stage. So personally, I'm going to click on this green button here, enable you to speak, and then there will be a green notification that pops up, and then you simply have to turn on your mic, turn on your camera, and then you're on the stage. As a speaker, you can also share your screen. So when you share your screen, highly recommend you to share an application rather than your full screen. That way, if you have email notifications popping up, people messaging you left and right, you will not be able to see it from your screen, and basically keep this pretty private, okay? I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. You can also have the option of sharing a video. We typically don't really recommend this, but in the case where you do, please note that if your video does have audio, you would like to mute yourself. So when you announce the video, tell everyone to mute themselves on who's on the stage, if it's a panel or double speaker, and you can share your video just like this. And then the system will automatically start streaming this video. Do note that on your end, you might want to remove your camera so that it maximizes this view. It makes it a lot more enjoyable, okay? So when you're done sharing the video, you can stop this video, and then you could turn on your camera and mic and revert back to the conversation. You'll also note that on the right-hand side, there's something called Q&A. So if you have a question, how does FDM work? You can ask that either with your name or anonymously. So you can then upvote these questions. We highly recommend that if you're part of a company, you might want to populate some anonymous questions just to see the sentiment of the delegates. Since you know your organizations and community best, you probably can help steer the conversation to something more interesting as well. So as votes of these questions are coming in, basically they will rise to the top, and the moderator will come onto the stage and help ask these questions. If there's a question that is very irrelevant, feel free to contact your digital ambassador and we can help remove it, just like this. But if you find the chat participant Q&A box distracting, simply click on this arrow and it will be gone. One quick note is what's interesting about the chat box for the event is there's table chat. The table chat, if you're in a table and the presentation mode goes on, you can still communicate with people that are there via chat. But if you are, listening to a talk and you're so fascinated by it, you can actually leave a comment and say, that was profound from our perspective, XYZ. If you want to start adding more value to the conversation. So not only do delegates learn from the speaker, they can learn from the community as well. This has been great in other events as well, so feel free to do that if you feel like it. So when the presentation's over, we will be brought back to the floor. But let's say you wanted to go back to the main stage during the presentation and go into a different track. What we're going to try our best doing as moderators of the floors will be to close the presentation, allow everyone to jump. But let's say you didn't get that chance. Either the digital ambassador can provide the URL to the main stage, or you can see from the agenda, we will have linked in the main stage information a link, a tiny URL for you to click on so that you can simply put it into the browser and then you can be brought back to the main stage. Kind of like this. So right now I'm kind of jumping back into the main stage through the URL link, and then I can be I can say hello to Nora again, and then I can re-navigate to any stage I might want to attend and visit. Okay. Do note that the system works best on Google Chrome. If you have VPN, we do recommend you to remove it or go use your personal devices. This does work best on browser and less good on phone and tablet. Especially if you are a speaker, we highly recommend you to use your computers. Yeah, so that's a little bit about the platform. If you do have any questions throughout the entire event, there is a need help button. I use it personally a lot, and it's a great way to get instant reply from someone that is running the backend, and they can help direct you with anything. So any kind of tech issue you might have, any kind of navigation questions you might have, you can ask the chat. People respond within 5 to 7 minutes typically, sometimes less. And then on top of that, they have a bunch of FAQs for you to navigate. Well, if you have any other questions, my name is Janet Carr. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can also email me at janet, Janet, at link3d.co, and happy to help answer any of the questions you might have regarding the type specifically, and how to navigate the event. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.